Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and welcome you all to news reporting course. This course has a course code of GMC 225. This is lecture number 6 and in the part 1 we are going to discuss basics of qualities of news. I'm Anwar Khan, a lecturer journalism and mass communication department, Cohort University of Science and Technology.
So, in the agenda points, we are going to discuss. So, first of all, we are going to have a look at the very definition of qualities of news. We will define it. What does qualities of news mean? And it is very important for the student to understand because in the coming slides, we will be repeating again and again like qualities of news, and if students do not understand qualities of news in the beginning, then it will be very much difficult for them to understand it in the coming slides and then particularly in the part 2. So they need to pay attention over here that what do we mean by qualities of news, and then we are going to have a look at the importance of qualities of news. I mean, we will be discussing that why is it so important that we are going to record part 1, and then we are going to record part 2. I mean, two separate lectures on qualities of news. It means that it is very important. So in this section, we are going to explore the importance of qualities of news, and then we will be differentiating qualities of news from the news values. Most of the times, when our students try to search qualities of news on Google or in any search engine, what happens that they find news values and then they mix it up, right? And they say that qualities of news are same like news values, but remember that they are different from each other. And in this section, we are going to explore the differences between qualities of news and news values. And then fact versus opinion, very important for the students of journalism and communication, as well as for other students to understand that how we can that what is fact, what is opinion, and how they are differentiated from each other. So in this section, we are going to have a look at it, and we will be discussing that in which part, right, of the media we is based on the fact only, and which portions of the journalism or the media they can accommodate opinion as well, right? So we will be discussing these parameters in this our section. And then yes, we are going to have a look at the Hutchins Commission. Very important that what role it has played in the media history, and how it has liberated the media from the chains of the government when the government was looking to control the media. Then how Hutchins Commission played a very important role in freeing the media, right? So Hutchins Commission, we are going to look at it. And then finally, elements of qualities of news, right? So these are some of the points that we are going to have a look at it, and these are our agenda points as well as our learning objectives of this our section. So let's define qualities of news. So look at this very definition: principles and guidelines which guide journalists how to arrange information while writing a news story. So, by looking at this definition, we come to know that qualities of news are basically principles or guidelines which help journalists that how to arrange information while writing a news story. So, here is a case. The role and the function or the responsibility of the journalist is to collect information about a certain event or incident. Take the example that cricket match between a T20 cricket series between Pakistan and South Africa, and the responsibility of the journalist will be to collect information about the series, right? And after collecting information, he will be developing all this information into a new story, and this is actually his responsibility. Now the thing is that all the information which the journalist has cannot be placed in the new story. There will be some of the information which will be included, and some of the information it will be discarded, because news story, it has a certain structure, it has a certain format, and journalist, he follows that very structure and arranges all that very information in the form of a news story. So these qualities of news basically help the journalist how to arrange that very information in the form of a news story. right? I hope that you would have understood, right? And in the coming slides, we will be discussing it again with the help of this new story, and I hope that you will understand it well in the coming slides. So from this very slide, we came to know that qualities of news are basically the principles and the guidelines. These are the yardsticks which help the journalist how to arrange all the information that he has collected of about an event, and how to arrange that very information into a news story. So let's have a look at the importance of qualities of news. And the very first point is that it keeps the trust of the audience in the media. What does it mean? It means that the media organization or the news organizations which is following qualities of news in their write-ups, then audience will have trust in that very media. And if audience or media organizations they are not following the qualities of news in their write-ups, then audience will have no trust in that very media, and then audience will go to another media, and then the very first media which is not following the qualities of news, then a day will come that that very media will perish from the media industry. So we know, and we have already discussed it in the class, that the role of the audience is very important in the in the destiny of the media organizations, right? It is very important in the 21st century. Take the example of the Facebook, take the example of the Twitter. Greater the number of the audience associated with a particular media organization, greater the influence and impact of that very media organizations. So it is very important. The role of the Facebook, the role of the Twitter cannot be denied, because the role they play in the elections, it is undeniable, right? And it is just because of the fact that millions millions of audiences they are associated with the Twitter, with the Facebook, and with other social media platforms, right? So audience they decide the fate and destiny of media organizations. And then we say that basically qualities of news actually is the reputation of the journalist and media organization rest on these qualities of news. I mean, if media organizations they are following the qualities of news, then it will have that very media organizations or the journalist will have positive reputation among the audience, and audience will remember that very media organization or journalist in good words. And those people who are not following the qualities of news, they will have very bad reputation among the audience. And again, very simple, that that very media organization will perish from the media industry if they are not following the qualities of news, right? And then finally, we say that it is so important that throughout the world, how many media organizations we have, they are following these qualities of news, and that is the reason that they are considered as the backbone of journalism. Take the example of the CNN, take the example of the BBC, Fox News. If national media, if you are talking about, for example, Geo News, Dawn News, Sama News, or international media organization you speak about, in every corner of the world, you select the media organization, a news organization, and you will find that they are following these qualities of news. Actually, so this is actually the importance of the qualities of news, that throughout the world, all the media organizations they are following it. So qualities of news versus news values. Let's have a look at it. That what's the possible differences between them. The very first point is that they both are different, right? So you people must keep it in mind that qualities of news are different than the news values, right? This is point number one. And sometimes it happens that the students search qualities of news on the Google, and they get news values, and they consider that both of them they are same, but they are not the same, they are different from each other. So what is the possible difference between them? So the possible difference between them is that news values helps journalists in the selection of the events. So this is very important, in the selection of the events. It means that several events are taking place in our society or in the province or on the national level. Several events are taking place. The problem is that we cannot accommodate all those events in the newspaper or on the television or on the online media. Why? Because of the space of because of the space, because of the time, because of the interest of the audience. That interest of the audience, I mean, audience desire to know about the celebrities, know about the famous people. Audience, they do not want to know about the common people, right? So this is actually very important in the selection of the events. I mean, news values, this is very important in the selection of the events, different activities that they are taking place in the national level, right? So this helps us a lot. And then news qualities, they are, as we discussed in the previous slides, that they helps us, they encourage us how to arrange information, how to write information once the event has been covered, right? So this is actually the possible and the main difference between the news values and the qualities of news. That news values will help the journalist which event has to be covered and which events are to be discarded, right? And once you cover that very event, then you will be gathering information about that very event, and then you will develop a new story about that very event. So when you are writing a new story, then at that time you will keep qualities of news in your mind, right? So I will give you the example. The example, for example, if a road accident, God forbid, if a celebrity has a road accident, then it will be covered by all the media organizations, right? So this is actually selection of the news. And if a common citizen, he or she has a road accident, so it will not be covered by media organizations until and unless it is something very I mean, unusual sort of accident, so it will not be covered. But the accidents of the celebrities, or we can say of the known people, it will be covered by the media organization. So it is actually called selection of the events. So let's have a look at this newspaper in order to understand more about the difference between the qualities of news and the news value. So this is Mashriq newspaper, a Daily Mashriq, and as you can see that there are several stories on the front page of this newspaper. We have this story, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and I mean, and it continues, right? Because this is half of the page has been selected. So it means that we have several stories on the front page of the Mashriq newspaper. So my question is that what is the yardsticks which help us to have this very story over here, this with the story over here, this story over here? Why this story is not coming over here? And this one, Pakistan ने पहले T20 में जनूबी अफ्रीका को हरा दिया. Why not to have this very story over here, right? What is the reason that this story is over here and this story is over here? So the answer to this question is that these are actually the news values which help us that this story has will be over here, and this story will be over here, and this story will be over here, right? So these are the news values which decide the position and the space of the story, right? And this could not be the qualities of news. It is actually the news values, right? Remember that it decides the font size, it decides the space of the news story, and it decides the position of the news story. Example number two, and this time it is taken from the Daily Aj, right? And again, you can find several stories on the front page of the Daily Mashriq. This story, this story, and this story, and we have several other stories like all these on the front page of the Daily Aj. And again, the same question that what guide us to have this very story over here? Why not to have this very story, I mean, over here, and the story of the LRH to be over here? The answer to this question again is the news values, because news values tell us that this story is very important, right? It's very important for the people. So that is the reason that this story should be over here. The font size will be different, the position will be different, and the space this story has, it will be different, because it is having 1 2 3 column story, right? So this story will be different than this story, which is a single column story, then this story which is a single column story, and this story which is a 2 column story, right? So this story is actually different in the stories, and these are the news values which tell us that this story is important and this story is important, so these stories will be placed above all other stories. So let's have a look at another story, and this time this is an example of the qualities of news, right? And as we have discussed in the Daily Mashriq and in the Daily Arch, that news values basically helps us which event has to be selected and which event should not be selected, right? So once you select the event, then the responsibility of the journalist is to collect information about that very event so that he or she can develop a news story from that very event and order to give it to the audience. So look at this very story. Pakistan to open consulate in Munich to tape potential foreign minister, and foreign minister has made an announcement on a Tuesday. So this is basically a news story, and the journalist has collected information about the announcement which has been made by Shah Mahmood Qureshi, the foreign minister. And you can see that this is basically the information which has been arranged in a specific order, in a specific way. And that's what we say, that they are following the qualities of news. They are following the qualities of news, right? So this story, the language, the sentence structure, the attribution, the simplicity that you will find and that we will be discussing in the part 2 of this series, you will find in it, right? You will find attribution over here, you will find the attribution over here again, right? And you will find that it is a truthful event. It has been made, this announcement has been made by the Mahmoud Qureshi, right? And the journalist, he or she has accurately uh, wrote this very story in order to give it to the audience, right? So news story, qualities of news is different than the news values, and I hope that you would have understood it right now. So during the course of discussion, I will be using the term journalistic write-up, and you should not be confused that what does it mean. By journalistic write-up, I will mean news, I mean hard news, soft news, features, editorial, and column. So they are, they are considered as journalistic write-ups, and I will be using the term journalistic write-up to mean all these four journalistic pieces. So what happened that when we speak about the print media or the electronic media or the online media, it is very interesting that different news, I mean hard news, feature, editorial, and column, they come together and make a full comprehensive bulletin or a newspaper or online word. It is not only the hard news that make it. Remember, it is not only the soft news which make it, and it is not only the columns or the editorials which make print media or the online media. All of them, they come together and make a full holistic comprehensive picture they presented to the audience. So let's have an example that how different journalistic write-ups or pieces that come together and make a newspaper or a television bulletin. And this time I'm giving you the example of the Dawn newspaper, and this is the very front page of the Dawn. And it says that if you come to the very left of this very page, then you will find that they are talking about the national news, miscellaneous or advertisement, national news, editorial that we spoke in the previous slide, and then again they are talking about the opinion that we spoke in the previous slide as well. The national news, business news, they've got international news, we have got the sports news. They are covering news from the Karachi, then from the Islamabad, then Lahore, and then Peshawar. So you can witness that how different journalistic write-ups, I mean news, editorial, opinion, they are coming together and making this very newspaper. And you will witness also that many of the write-ups, they are news. They are news just because of the fact that it is newspaper. It is a paper of the news. Therefore, you will find maximum news stories in it. And another very important fact is that you will find only one editorial in one newspaper, right? In each of its edition, you will find only one editorial. You are not going to have many more editorials, right? It is that you will find editorial notes, right?
I mean, this secondary editorial you will find, but the main editorial you will find one. And similarly, opinions, yes, opinion you can have four, five, or six. I mean, in each of the edition, depending upon the writers or the experts who, I mean, who are associated with the Dawn newspaper. So the thing is, just I wanted to tell you that how different journalistic write-ups they are coming together and making this very newspaper. And the same is the case with the television bulletin. If you look at the television bulletin, you will have news in the beginning. I mean, hard news, and maybe one of the soft news or feature news, and then you will have sports news, business news, international news. Again, you will find it over there. And then in case of the opinion, we have the current affair programs over there, right? And I mean, all of you would have seen it. So the current affair programs, they are as the opinions, where different participants belonging to different political parties or coming from different field of expertise, they are coming together and discussing some of the issues. So here it is. Another important fact or phenomenon that the students of journalism and mass communication, and generally all students must keep in mind, is that facts are sacred, opinion is free. That the students must mention the facts, that students who are working in the field of journalism and when they are writing stories, so they are going to report the facts. They are reporting what's happening in the societies, the realities. They are recording it, the truths that exist in the society. So it is a responsibility of the journalist to record those facts about those realities, about those phenomenon, and then give those facts to the people. They cannot give opinion in their stories. They cannot. They are not free to give the opinion. Opinion is something else. If you want to give the opinion, this opinion can be given in the editorial portion. It can be given in the column portion, and it can be given in the we can say in the feature portion. But in case of the hard news, the journalist cannot give their opinion in the area of hard news. When they are reporting the hard news, they are only and only to report the facts, right? So this is the difference between facts and opinion. Facts are which exist and which can be tested, which can be verified at any time. And then opinion is something personal. My opinion might be different than from others, and other people may have different opinion about the same thing. So opinion can vary from person to person, while facts, they are, I mean, something that they can be verified, tested at any time of the history. Let's spare some of the time to discuss history, and whenever we are discussing the history, we come to know that qualities of news has much to do with the Hutchins Commission, right? And you will be thinking that what is Hutchins Commission, and when it was formulated, what was the purpose of the Hutchins Commission? So let's have a look at it. This Hutchins Commission was officially known as Commission on Freedom of the Press, and this commission was formulated, established in 1942 with the purpose that to formulate certain guidelines and principles for the media practitioners, wherein they can work freely according to the principles of the media and without any government intervention or pressures, right? So that was actually the purpose of this Hutchins Commission. And remember that it was formulated in the US, and it was actually a person with the name of Henry Luce who provided funding for the establishment of this very commission. And the role this commission has played in the history is tremendous. Is tremendous in the sense that we know about the role of the media, that media has a powerful role in the society. And every government, they were trying to control media because they knew about the power of the media, and they knew that how media can make the opinion of the people, how they can persuade people, influence people. So that was the reason that every media, every government in different parts of the world, they thought that it is necessary to control the media. If they do not control the media, and if a tyrant or if a dictator takes over the government, then what will happen, that he will be using the media as his weapon. So they were thinking that media should be under the control of some authority, so that there should be some rules and regulation for it. So what happened that when the media practitioners, when the media industries, they came to know that the government in the US were trying to control media, and they made several commissions, several authorities in order to curtail the freedom of the press. So this commission, Hutchins Commission, it was made, and it was made with the purpose that media practitioners will be working freely, and they will be socially responsible, and they will be working within those parameters, right? And thus, because of this commission, and because of the findings of this commission, the government, they took away their guidelines, or the authorities that they were trying to establish. So this commission has played a great role in the history. And remember that when the commission was made, then members were selected from different walks of life. It had people from the media. It had media people from the academia, from the it had members uh, from the political life, right? So that was, this commission was a comprehensive commission, and it was given the responsibility to make certain rules and regulation. And remember that this commission released its finding in 1947. They discussed, they met with each other for 5 years, and then in 1947 they released their findings, and their findings are commonly known as the social responsibility theory. Because in the history, we are not going to discuss them thoroughly. The reason is that if we try to discuss it, then we will go towards another topic, and I don't want to move away from our topic. So in 1947, when they released their findings, so that very findings are known as the social responsibility theory. In the first phase, there was the authoritarian theory, where the government, they were trying to control the media. Then another group of people, they came to surface, and they said that there should be absolute freedom and liberty to the media, and that was known they were known as the libertarians, right? But what happened that both of them, they were on the extremes of the spectrum. And the social responsibility theory, it stood in between the authoritarian theory and the libertarian theory. And then they said that the media practitioners will be socially responsible. So there were numerous other principles, right, which were mentioned in the findings that were released in the 1947, and that was summarized by one of the communication scholars, McQuill, a famous communication scholar. So, this qualities of news was one of the components of the findings, right? There were numerous other components, but qualities of news, which suggested that there should be truth, there should be accuracy, there should be objectivity, balance in the information that is given to the audience. So that was one of the component of the Hutchins Commission's finding. Now let's discuss that what are the elements of the qualities of news that we have been discussing about. We came to know about the importance, we came to know about different dimensions of the qualities of news, but yet we have not discussed elements of qualities of news. So let's have these qualities of news. So they are in the form of the truth, accuracy, balance, objectivity, conciseness, brevity, clear and simple, and attribution. So these are known as the elements of the qualities of news. That when you are writing something, when you are writing a news story, either for the print, for the newspaper or magazine, or for the television, or for the online world. So what you are going to do is that you are going to follow all these principles. You are going to write on the truths, on the realities that exist in the physically in the society or in the world, and you are to produce all your details accurately. You are not supposed to change the shape of the information that is given to you. And then when you are writing it, you are going to write it in a balanced form and in objective form. It has to be concise. And when you are writing news stories, they have to be short. You cannot write stories, very lengthy stories, like poetry, like essays, like books. No, it cannot be. It has to be very short, and then it has to be clear and simple, and there has to be attribution, right? So these are the elements of qualities of news, and we are going to discuss all of them in the part 2. In the resource section, I'm going to suggest to you three of the items. So one is the link, and if you click this link, you will have more information about the qualities of news. So it is necessary for the students to go there and search it out. And then this very book, The Elements of Journalism, What News People Should Know and the Public Should Expect, written by Bill Cowich and Tom Rosenchel. A very lovely book, a very informative book. Read it out, and you will have more information about the qualities of the news. And then finally, we have the mass communication theory, foundations, ferment, and the future. And over here in this book, you will have information about the Hutchins Commission, right? And a very informative book this is, because you will need it in your higher studies. If you are pursuing your higher studies, then you will need this very book as well. So it is very important book for you. So thank you very much. This is the end of today's session. See you in the next lecture. Till that, Allah Hafiz.